Hello, and welcome to the Shurley English Workshop Series. Today's topic is how to teach Pattern 3 sentences with confidence. As your students learn different sentence patterns and how all the parts work together to write them, writing sentences becomes easier. Shurley English helps students make the connection between grammar skills and writing by using a unique combination of features. Abstract concepts become clear and logical, using these concrete multisensory strategies that support all types of learners. Today, I will take you through each Shurley English feature used to teach Pattern 3. Let's begin with Jingle Time. Students must understand what it takes to write a complete sentence, so it's a good idea to begin with a review of the sentence jingle. After reciting the sentence jingle, remind students that when we write or speak, we use different types of sentences to express what we want to say. Some sentences are long and some are short, but there are 5 things that all sentences have in common. Complete sentences contain a subject, a verb, complete sense. They begin with a capital letter and end with an end mark. The number of possible word combinations to create sentences is almost limitless, but there are a limited number of sentence patterns. Shurley English teaches 7 sentence patterns. Let's take a closer look. A sentence pattern is the pattern or order of the core parts of the sentence. This chart illustrates the core parts of each sentence pattern and the level where each pattern is introduced and reinforced. Traditional textbooks teach these same patterns, but you might notice a slight difference. Shurley English always labels a noun by its job. For instance, take a look at the first pattern. Instead of saying that the core of a Pattern 1 sentence includes just a noun and a verb, making it the noun-verb pattern, we teach students to call the noun by its job. We teach them to label and classify the core parts by saying subject, noun, verb, pattern 1. The blue labels illustrate the noun jobs in each sentence pattern, and students will learn about them as the curriculum scaffolds. Let's take a quick look at the noun jobs students will learn. In true Shurley style, students will recite the noun job jingle. The first noun they learn about in Pattern 1 is the subject noun. The subject noun tells who or what the sentence is about. Students will learn the second noun job during Pattern 1 as well. This noun is known as the object of the preposition. In Pattern 2, students learn how to locate and label a direct object. This noun job is part of the core and completes the meaning of the sentence. Today, I will introduce you to the 4th noun job, the indirect object. This new noun is a core part of a Pattern 3 sentence. The last noun job is called a predicate noun, and it is a core part of a Pattern 4 sentence. Students will learn that a predicate noun is a noun in the predicate part of the sentence that means the same thing as the subject noun. Now that we have gone over noun jobs, let's do a quick review of the first 2 sentence patterns you will have already taught before Pattern 3. Using a unique feature called the question and answer flow, Shurley English students learn how to ask the right questions to label and classify all the words in the sentence. The Q&A flow teaches students to identify the core parts of a sentence first, and the core parts of a Pattern 1 sentence include a subject and a verb. As these 2 parts of speech are spoken together using the Q&A flow, students will hear correct subject-verb agreement. At the same time, they will also learn to listen for complete sense. If the subject and verb do not make complete sense, students will learn to identify additional core parts. Let's review Pattern 1 by using the question and answer flow to label and classify the sentence. Ready? The lost duck flew near the barn. What flew near the barn? Duck, subject noun. What is being said about duck? Duck flew. Verb. Near, preposition. Near what? Barn, object of the preposition. The, article adjective. What kind of duck? Lost, adjective. The, article adjective. Subject, noun, verb, pattern 1, skill check. Near the barn, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Remember that the question and answer flow also includes a skill check that identifies prepositional phrases, labels the kind of sentence, and separates the complete subject from the complete predicate. Eventually, students will also check for adverb exceptions and natural and inverted word order during the skill check. Now that we've reviewed sentence pattern 1, let's talk about the core parts of a pattern 2 sentence. A pattern 2 sentence has 2 nouns and a verb transitive. The pattern is labeled in Shurley English as subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2. Remember that sentence patterns are identified by their core parts. Even in sentences with a subject pronoun, the sentence pattern will remain subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2. The subject noun is a symbolic holder for the subject noun or subject pronoun of a sentence pattern. Again, the core parts of a pattern 2 sentence include a subject noun, a verb transitive, and a direct object. The direct object is a noun that completes the meaning of the sentence. The question and answer flow provides logical steps to not only identify subject, noun, verb, and direct object, it also includes a step where the verb is labeled and classified as a transitive verb, meaning it transfers action from the subject to the direct object. In addition, an ounce of foreshadowing occurs in pattern 2 that will actually help students when they get to pattern 4. You see, when the Q&A flow asks if the direct object means the same thing as the subject noun, as long as the answer is no, you can confidently identify the noun as a direct object. If the answer is yes, then students will know the noun is a predicate noun and the sentence is a pattern 4 sentence. Let's quickly review the Q&A flow for pattern 2. Alex bought a truck. Who bought a truck? Alex. Subject noun. What is being said about Alex? Alex bought. Verb. Alex bought what? Truck. Verify the noun. Does truck mean the same thing as Alex? No. Truck. Direct object. Bought. Verb transitive. A. Article adjective. Subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2, skill check. Period statement. Declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. The skill check for pattern 2 includes a new step that helps students recheck the verb to ensure that it's been labeled as a verb transitive. Look at number 10. Once students understand how to label and classify pattern 1 and pattern 2 sentences, they will learn the next sentence pattern, pattern 3. A pattern 3 sentence has 3 nouns and a verb. The pattern is labeled in Shurley English as subject noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3. To understand pattern 3, you must first understand how the core parts work together. The lesson will begin with an introduction to the indirect object jingle during Jingle Time. Students will recite the jingle a couple of times to get used to its rhythm, rhyme, and definition. Remember, it doesn't matter how you sing or chant the jingle. What matters is that you recite the jingle consistently with your students. Listen to one way to chant the indirect object jingle.
Indirecto, indirecto, indirect object. Give me that indirecto, indirecto, indirect object. An indirect object is a noun or a pronoun that receives what the direct object names. An indirect object is found between the verb transitive and the direct object. To find the indirect object, ask to whom or for whom after the direct object. An indirect, 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 indirect. Yeah, an indirect object. Just give me that indirecto, indirecto, indirect object. Give me that indirecto, indirect, indirect object. Give me that indirecto, indirecto, indirect object. An indirect object.
After Jingle Time, students will be taught the important information they need to know about the new concepts taught in Pattern 3. They will learn more about the indirect object, why Pattern 3 sentences contain a transitive verb, and how to label Pattern 3 sentences correctly. I'll go through the lesson to show you how to teach your students to label and classify Pattern 3 sentences using the question and answer flow. We will use this example sentence. It says, Marcus bought me a skateboard. Remember, students learned how to identify the subject, noun, and verb during Pattern 1. They will always locate those two core parts of the sentence first. So let's identify them now. Ready? Marcus bought me a skateboard. Who bought me a skateboard? Marcus. Subject, noun. What is being said about Marcus? Marcus bought. Verb. Immediately after locating the subject, noun, and verb, Shurley English students learn to check for subject-verb agreement and complete sense. So let's check them. Do the subject and verb agree? Yes. Do the subject and verb make complete sense? No. Marcus bought does not make complete sense. When the subject and verb do not make complete sense together, Shurley English students know how to look for additional core parts. They learn to go to the next sentence pattern to find missing parts that will help complete the meaning of the sentence. The next pattern would be pattern 2, so students will search for a direct object. To locate and verify the direct object, students ask, Marcus bought what? Skateboard. Verify the noun. Does skateboard mean the same thing as Marcus? No. Skateboard. Direct object. Bought. Verb transitive. Now, let's learn more about an indirect object and how it becomes a core part of a Pattern 3 sentence. An indirect object is a noun or pronoun that is located after the verb and before the direct object. An indirect object receives the direct object. To find an indirect object, ask to whom or for whom after identifying the direct object. If the indirect object word is not a person, ask to what or for what. The question and answer flow will help students locate the indirect object in the example sentence by asking, Marcus bought skateboard for whom? Me. Indirect object. An indirect object is labeled with the abbreviation capital I, capital O. When it comes to the verb in a Pattern 3 sentence, students will learn that since the pattern contains a direct object, the verb is automatically going to be a transitive verb. Remember, the job of the transitive verb is to transfer action from the subject to the direct object. A transitive verb is labeled with the abbreviation capital V hyphen lowercase t, and students will call it a verb transitive as they write the hyphen and lowercase t beside the verb label. Once the core parts of the sentence have been identified, students will continue labeling and classifying the other words in the sentence using the Q&A flow. The only word left in the example sentence is the word a, so students simply say a. Article adjective. Afterwards, students will label the sentence pattern and complete a skill check. Let's go over what students need to know in order to label a Pattern 3 sentence. Sentence patterns identify the core parts of sentences. The third sentence pattern, Pattern 3, has 4 core parts: a subject noun, a verb transitive, an indirect object, and a direct object. Pattern 3 is identified by its core parts: subject, noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3. Now I will label and classify the example sentence using the question and answer flow. It is called a Q&A flow because the questions and answers are meant to flow together in a logical, sequential way. You must follow the teaching script without stopping and starting along the way. Listen as I demonstrate. Ready? Marcus bought me a skateboard. Who bought me a skateboard? Marcus. Subject, noun. What is being said about Marcus? Marcus bought. Verb. Marcus bought what? Skateboard. Verify the noun. Does skateboard mean the same thing as Marcus? No. Skateboard. Direct object. Bought. Verb transitive. Marcus bought skateboard for whom? Me. Indirect object. A. Article adjective. Subject, noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3, skill check. Verb transitive, check again. No prepositional phrases. Period, statement. Declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Is this sentence in a natural or inverted order? Natural, no change. Teachers will always be provided with a teaching script and an answer key for each sentence. You just have to remember to stick to the script. Learning to ask the right questions to identify the parts of a pattern 3 sentence takes knowledge, skills, and practice. Let's label and classify 2 sentences together now, using the Q&A flow. Be sure to read the sentence aloud with me and say both the questions and the answers. Ready? Mom baked Dad a cake. Who baked Dad a cake? Mom. Subject, noun. What is being said about Mom? Mom baked. Verb. Mom baked what? Cake. Verify the noun. Does cake mean the same thing as mom? No. Cake. Direct object. Baked. Verb transitive. Mom baked cake for whom? Dad. Indirect object. A. Article adjective. Subject, noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3, skill check. Verb transitive, check again. No prepositional phrases. Period, statement. Declarative sentence, go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Is this sentence in a natural or inverted order? Natural, no change. Great job classifying the sentence. Now let's try another one. Mom baked Dad a cake for his birthday. Who baked Dad a cake for his birthday? Mom. Subject, noun. What is being said about Mom? Mom baked. Verb. Mom baked what? Cake. Verify the noun. Does cake mean the same thing as mom? No. Cake, direct object. Baked. Verb transitive. Mom baked cake for whom? Dad, indirect object. A. Article adjective. 4. Preposition. For what? Birthday. Object of the preposition. Whose birthday? His. Possessive pronoun adjective. Subject, noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3, skill check. For his birthday, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Nice job. As students continue to develop their knowledge, skills, and practice locating and classifying indirect objects, they will also search for them as they complete a noun check. As they scan the sentence from left to right, looking for noun job labels, students must decide whether the word beneath the label is a noun or a pronoun. If it is a noun, it will be circled. If it is a pronoun, it will not be circled. Let's take a look at these pattern 3 sentences and recite the noun check together. Ready? Sentence 1. Subject noun, grandma. Yes, it is a noun. Indirect object, me. No, it is a pronoun. Direct object, jar. Yes, it is a noun. Object of the preposition, jelly. Yes, it is a noun. Sentence 2. Subject noun, bread. Yes, it is a noun. Indirect object, her. No, it is a pronoun. Direct object, bellyache. Yes, it is a noun. See? It's as easy as that. Now, let's turn our attention to sentence blueprints. Students have been using sentence blueprints to write sentences since pattern 1 because they help students learn how to integrate grammar knowledge into the writing process. They also help students build their revision skills. Let me show you how easy it is to write a pattern 3 sentence using a sentence blueprint. As you guide your students through a sentence blueprint, remember to take the reverse approach to the question and answer flow. Begin with the subject noun question. Ask who or what do I want the sentence to be about? As you can see here, our subject noun is music. Then ask the verb question. What is being said about music? Music gave, verb. Now notice the verb gave. It's a transitive verb, so it transfers action from the subject to the direct object. Music gave what? Headache. Now verify the noun. Does headache mean the same thing as music? No. Headache is the direct object. Gave is the verb transitive. To finish identifying the core, find an indirect object that makes sense. Music gave headache to whom? Me, indirect object. Notice the core parts of this pattern 3 sentence. Music gave me headache. Now, let's add to the core. We need to create an adjective that describes headache. Ask, what kind of headache? The adjective huge works just fine here. Now, take care of the article adjective. A is the most appropriate one to use for this sentence. Go back to the subject noun and find another adjective. This time, it needs to describe music. Ask, what kind of music? Loud, adjective. The last part of speech we need to create is a possessive pronoun adjective. Ask, whose music? There, possessive pronoun adjective. Read the pattern 3 sentence. Their loud music gave me a huge headache. After writing the original sentence, students will be taught to revise it. Revising means to look for ways to improve writing, and the first step is to strengthen the word choices that have been made. Students will be taught to go through each word in the original sentence and think about changes or improvements they want to make. They learn to think about what they really want to say and what might interest the reader. Pay attention to the revision strategies in red color that we use to strengthen our sentence. The revised sentence reads, "Our deafening music gave Mom a migraine." As our presentation comes to an end, I hope you can see that teaching pattern 3 is easy for you and your students using Shurley English. As students learn to use a variety of sentence patterns when writing, their sentence fluency will increase and their writing will improve. Stay tuned for upcoming presentations that will show you how to teach the remaining sentence patterns. I want to thank you for attending this edition of the Shurley English Workshop Series. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel to view all of our language arts instructional videos. For more information about our curriculum, please visit us at www.shurley.com.